Hello, my name is Alex Bannister, and this is my version of the game Tournamental with my mechanic level guide and the lock and key, which was made by Phil Jones. How level guide works is that you want to make sentences with the blocks that are on the screen. So, for instance, blue block is push, which is represented by the blue block being itself, is being the white block, and then green being the push. And all of the blocks are color coded and represented in the UI. And so to do that, you walk up to the white block, the is block, and then push it. And now you have blue is push, which is also represented on the left side. So now I'm able to interact with the block just like I'm able to interact with all the other blocks. And the lock and key mechanic works just as you would think it would. You get the lock, or you get the key, and you're able to open the door, which is this thing right here, and you need one key to open it. And so there are some purple blocks, and I can't really move them or get past them, so I move this white block down and go to the green, and now purple block is pushed. So now I'm able to push the purple block, get to the key access, and now I walk up and the door opens. And now I can't really get past to get to the wind tile, but I do see that there is this pass block and there is still this white block. So I go over here, make my way through this little skinny path to where the door was, push it over, and then I make this sentence, which is blue block is pass, which now I'm able to walk through all the blue blocks and walk past here and get to my destination. And now this is I implemented the mechanics of the lock and key into my blocks. And so first you want to start with getting the key, or however people may want to do it. And you see now there's two doors, so you can't really access that, and you still need a key to get past there. So come down, line up the is block with the blue block and the key block, and now the blue blocks are now represented as keys. And so I'm not just gonna get there. I'm not gonna get that just yet, just to show it off a little bit and show what the player might run into. And so the wind tile is over here. You can't really get through it because the purple blocks are blocking it. Now you got this red block, which is represented as door. Come over here, make purple block is door, and now you need a key to open the door. And so you come back down here and grab this blue block. I could have did this ahead of time, but I just wanted to show off that the blocks take on the characteristics of what a door would do. So now there's no more blue blocks to be gathered. Come over here. Wow. Purple block acts like a door. And now I'm able to get through. And now you see there is no wind tile at all in this level. But you have that yellow block, which is wind, which will actually turn this blue block into a wind tile. Gotta make sure you push it in all the right areas, because if you do decide to take this line over here, the block will get stuck as represented. If you push this over here, you're not really able to get it off this line. So it's just a few things that might mess the player up if they decide to keep pushing it all the way over here. And also the same thing if for some reason they decide they want to push it down. We'll see. If you get it down here, you're stuck. Just ways to potentially mess up the player. But keep moving up. Move it over a little bit. Come over here now. This blue block is lined up with the sentence. So now you get blue block is win. And then it changes into the win tile. And now I'm able to step right on it. Then I move on to the next level. This one took me some time. I am not good. Puzzle, I've never been one to play puzzle games, so I kind of was just trying to figure stuff out on the fly. But I think I did a decent job making this one. This is my difficult level because I don't know if people will actually think to bring this with you. So they may get all the way to that top right square and not have this with you, but you do need this to go with you. So push this is block over, and I added a bunch of teleports that go back and forth to from here. And so push this is block over. And now you want to turn these blue ones into keys. But since you can't really interact it with when you got another entity there, you move that out the way. Bow, collect, and then you push it through. And now you could try to come down here and push the is block through here, but you will be stuck. And you can't really do that, and you need this this is block to connect that sentence over there. So you push it all the way over, and this is another thing that could potentially mess up the player. If they were to push it too far and get it on this line, they would have to restart, because then you can't get it off this line to push it into here. So you have to walk around, push it over, and this gives the player another choice if they do decide to push it that way. Block will get stuck. You have to come over here, push it that way, and then you walk around, and then you're finally able to make this into a sentence. And now these purple blocks are, are now doors. I suggest that you only go for the one purple block and get that out the way so you can access it, because if you do it twice and get a second one, you will have to go back and grab that blue block that was at the first square. Since these are still keys, get out the way, push it down. You can also get these stuck if you push them up from the bottom. So just a little trickery to potentially cause the player some havoc. Move these two doors out the way since they're still doors. But you come to this other door and you see that you still need 2 keys to open the door. And since you still have these right here, 1 key, 2 key. And now I'm able to open the door. So I come down, line it up. And there's multiple ways to clear this area. You could push this glow block right here, and it will turn the purple block into all wind tiles. But since I want to show off the mechanic a little more, push this down here, make it a pass block, push it in the middle, and so now purple are the pass blocks, and now all blue becomes the wind tiles. So you come around, walk through the little purple block. And that is my mechanic level guide and the lock and key mechanic made by Phil Jones. Now to go into the coding of everything. For the lock and key, for lock and key, the key mechanic was pretty simple. When it's interacted with, it assures the actor plays the sound that notifies that it has been picked up. It sets the tile that it's on to enter, and then gets the play and casts to the player, and adds 1 to its keys, to the key variable in the player. And then in the door, decreases the amount of keys that it decreases the amount of key in the player by the keys required for the door. So if the player has two keys and the door requires two keys, you're gonna have zero keys after you're finished. And then if you don't have the right amount of keys, it tells you you need required keys to open the door. And then this is the timeline I use to set the location for the movement of the door for the door. And then for my mechanic, the main part is the is block because every time the player plays or hits the interact button, it plays the what is it plays the what is it plays the interact on the is block. So every time the player plays interact, it plays this. So it gets all the neighboring tiles and makes sure that either the up or down is a sentence or left and right in a sentence. So every time I press the interact, gets all actors of class, which for the is block, and then for each of them, play the completed sentence, which is this right here. This right here. So it'll play that. And then this is what runs when you get all of the when you get all the neighboring tiles. These two right here, I just recently had to cut out just to make sure that for my package level, it ran smoothly. Because when these were connected, once I got to the second level, my mechanic stopped working. So taking this out allowed the mechanic to continue to work properly. But when you get for for the is block, you get the current tile of the neighbor. You get the current tile that the is block is in. You get its neighbor, and then you find up. And this is for all four directions, so it could be up, left, right, down. And then you get the current entity that is in that neighbor, and then you set it as whatever entity that it is. So top neighbor's current entity is whatever the neighbor is. And then for the up down sentence is the same thing as left to right sentence. Get the top neighbor's current entity or the left, and then make sure that it has a tag object, and then you also get the bottom entity or the right entity and make sure that it has the tag result. And then if both of those are true, set it to a sentence, and then you call completed sentence for either the bottom neighbor or the right neighbor. And then those would be the effects. And this is what gets called in the effects. So you have to make sure that it is an is block, and this is for every single effect that I have, which is key, push, wind, door. I'm missing a couple other ones, but so you get the current tile that it's in, you find up and you find left, and you make sure that it is an entity in all and get all the actors of that class. Wait, you get the left entity of the is block and then get all the actors of that class. So it makes sure that it gets the is block and then gets the left neighbor of that is block. And it gets the left entity of the is block, the left neighbor's entity of the is block, and then gets all of them to affect it. And so if you get, what is it? So you have, if I was to move this over here, it calls it and says, hey, what is your top entity? Oh, it's blue. I need to get all the blue blocks in the level and then make them push. That's what that is doing. And so for each of them, you make it push and then calls completed sentence of either the top one, the top neighbor or the left neighbor. and then that, and when it does completed sentence, wait, it sets it sets the variable effects to push or whatever effect that it is. So it could be key, door, pass. It sets the variable to that and then calls it. And then in the blue block or purple block, this is the sentence that gets called. It activates the effects, and the effect that it's called is whatever this is set to. At base functionality, it's blocked, so you can't really interact with it at all. But once you set its effects and change it, and then it calls this. So if it's pass, then it becomes a pass. And this is where I implemented that an entity, which is like the very basic base form of everything. So for activate effects, for push, it's interactable, but and you can't really. There's no the variable get a key is false and is door is false. So this will make sense later. And what is this block? It blocks. Oh, this is for wind tile. Make it disables interactable, disables get a key, and disables door. You can enter it, and then you get the current tile and set its new tile type to the wind tile, and then you update it, and then it changes to the wind tile. Then for block, you disable all the variables that would affect it. So you disable interactable, disable can enter, disable can get a key, and disable is a door. So it's just a block blocking everything. And then allow player to walk through the block is pass. So you can't interact with it, but you can enter it. I'm not sure what this was for. I think I was trying to do something else, but this is for the pass effect. And then this is for the key effect. Turn on interactable. You turn on can get a key, but set is door to false and set is entered to false. So you don't want to be able, you're not, and this is set to false because you don't want to be able to walk through the key while it's there. And so you have to collect it before you can walk through it. And then the door is interactable and is set in is a door set to true, but it's not a key, but you can't pick it up, so can't get a key is false. And this functionality is right here in entity box, interactable box. And so after the main part of the interactable part, if it's true, you go and check to see if is interactable is true. And if it's true, you have to see if it is a key. So you see if can get a key is true. If it's true, you run the code for key. And this is the same code that the regular key would run, but it's now in block. Now it's in the block that when it's affected for it. But if that's false, you check to see if door is true, and if it is, then the block performs as if it was a door, which is all the same coding for door. And if that is false, then it runs the oh you can't really push it, can't really do nothing with it. The where the block moves back and forth. But if is interactable is false, then you go down. No, no, no. If is door is false, can get a key is false, but interactable is still true, it runs as if you're just pushing it forward. And that's where the the push block comes in. Everything else is set to false except for interactable. And so now you're able to just push it around like normal. But if this is, but what is, but this is the regular base functionality. If everything is false, then you get that moving back and forth as if it doesn't work. And that has been my level. Oh, some of the problems I did run into as I was making this was that whenever I was playing and I wanted to get the double effects on a single block, sometimes, so if I wanted to get this purple block to work like a pass block, it sometimes didn't work like that. It wouldn't allow me to, it wouldn't allow it to actually do it. So I had to re-go through like all my code and rechain and redo everything. That's kind of how I got set up as the player calling everything. So it eliminated a lot of the talking back and forth to everything, because it was a lot more talking back and forth, which didn't suit everything, and I couldn't get my mechanic to work exactly how I wanted it the whole entire time. But changing the player to always talking to the is block every time you press the interact button was really got me to it really got it to work. And then I told you what I did for the mechanic not working on level 2 for the package build, and that was really the main problems that I had, but they were all able to be sorted out, and now I have a really good workable mechanic and levels. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy it.